What's up, you guys? Welcome to another action figure collection review. As today we're going to be taking a look at the Generation X toy line released by Toybiz, and this is another pretty cool group of mutants within the X-Men line in general. So let's take a look at all these figures up close and see how great they really are. And keep in mind there are more characters involved within this roster, but maybe I'll have an updated video in the future. So let's go ahead and take a look at least what I have so far and just see how great they really are. Alright, so up first we're going to be taking a look at Skin, and this figure is pretty cool, and he has more of a zombie-like facial expression with the Generation X uniform with the maroonish color tones of the yellows and the blue belt buckles, which does look pretty good because it does pop out within the color schemes of the actual figure. You can see he has more of the longer fingernails, which kind of has like a Wolverine-esque on this side, but it's pretty cool. And then the rest of the figure is mostly just all in its gray tones and gives you more of a stretchier skin-esque version, so pretty cool. You can see some creases there by the elbows and no other type of articulation, unfortunately, but the figure itself is a nice addition into the Generation X Toybiz line, so I'm very happy to at least have this guy. And he does come with all these other attachments and accessories, kind of like chains to go along with the figure, but since I'm not focusing on actual accessories and gimmicks for these figures, it's cool the way it is. So that is Skin. Up next we have Penance, and this is a type of figure where I don't really have much of an attachment to, and I don't really know too much about her other than she does look pretty cool, and her whole skin is really just all like reddish maroon color with the purple outfit and the blue Generation X logo, and everything else about it is pretty decent for that matter. You can see some sculpting and texturing there by her torso outfit, which does look pretty nice because it's kind of like weaves, so looks pretty dope. I like that. You can even see some of the skin popping through with the veins. It's more like a polygon-esque design to it, which is very interesting nonetheless. And then she does have blue eyes with nice hair sculpting there, kind of a different color scheme of her facial tones compared to the rest of the body, so not really sure what's going on there, but the overall design of it is cool. And she does have a gimmick here where when you just press it, she just kind of claws at you like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I do like how the blue eyes really do pop out from the figure. And yeah, again, no other articulation unfortunately, but it's still a great figure. So that is Penance. Next we have Sync, and this is probably my favorite character within the entire Generation X lineup, at least, because first of all, look at that head sculpt. It is really cool. I just love it. And if not mistaken, he has also these very cool powers, and when you utilize the powers with this kind of outfit, it just makes it just 10 times better. I mean, the outfit is really cool for that matter, with the same maroons and yellow stripes there with the blue Generation X logo. You can see the muscle definition and then the standard yellow boots. But the interesting thing about this one is he does have these shadings on the actual gloves and the legs of the figure, where you can see there's just some cool gradients from the oranges into the yellows, which I do like. So you can tell Toybiz was really trying to step up their game with a lot of these figures, which was freaking sick, so I'm happy. And on top of that, with no knee articulation and no elbow articulation, at least they gave him like the arms or shoulders, but it could have been a very solid 10 out of 10 figure, but they kind of missed the mark on this one. But muscle definition and all that came out fine. I just really love the facial expression and head sculpt. That is just freaking sick. It's a great looking figure, so it's probably one of my favorites in the X-Men Toybiz collection. So that is Sync. Up next, we're going to be taking a look at Chamber, and this is another one of my favorites within the Generation X line, simply because if you look at the overall design of this figure, he just looks freaking awesome. He has like a translucent torso piece, his hair is waving in the air, he has like these menacing light green eyes with some shadowing underneath. He's rocking this cool leather jacket on top of the Generation X uniform with the standard yellow boots and with some the same sculpting and stuff. So muscle definition is fine, but again, just look at that amazing detail right there by the torso. That is freaking fantastic. He does have a gimmick where you can pull the string here, which I don't want to break, but I believe the torso lights up, and he also has a very cool powers as well, and you can see just by his stance that he looks like a very menacing type of X-Men type character. So that's freaking badass. I absolutely love it. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's just unfortunate that he has no elbow or knee articulation, but starting to see a pattern here of how a lot of them don't have it, but it's still such a great looking figure. I love it. So that is Chamber. Next, to my surprise, part of the Generation X line, we also have Banshee, which is a very interesting addition into the Generation X lineup. And Banshee is actually a very underrated character. He's one of my favorites within just the entire X-Men roster, just because of his screaming abilities. Now, he's clearly rocking the traditional blue and yellow, or classic blue and yellow outfits, with also containing the Generation X design. So not really sure where they were going with this one, and I believe there's also a black and yellowed version, but I wanted to get the blue and yellow one instead. Facial expression looks pretty good with the menacing blue eyes and orange hair. He does have his little cape there where he can fly with, so that's pretty cool. And it's all attached to his forearms, which is nice for him to glide. Muscle definition all came out pretty good. And yeah, pretty decent looking figure nonetheless. It's just, I kind of wish that they gave him more of the purple or maroonish yellow outfit instead of the blue and yellow, because then you can fit him into the other X-Men. But this one is still fine for what it is. It's still a great looking figure. I actually like it. So, and thankfully Toybiz did make the classic green and yellow version as well, which we'll get into in another video. But for now, this is the Generation X version. So that is Banshee. This is the Jubilee figure, which I talked about in the previous X-Men collection video. So she is rocking the traditional Generation X outfit. I just wish that, they gave her the original blue and yellow Jim Lee style. So this is the only Jubilee that we got, and it's very unfortunate. Next, we're going to be taking a look at Marrow, and this is another very interesting figure because you can see how she has all these bones sticking out from her body or torso, even the legs, which is it's just loose. It all comes out, which doesn't really do much for the figure, but the back does have a nice placeholder for some of her skeletons and stuff. So it's decent. I like the design of even just the torso is fine, but the face sculpt is also pretty decent with those menacing eyes and grinning teeth, and she does have some bones at the top of her head. She does have a hole on the top of her head, and I tried to figure out which bone piece actually fits on the top, and to be honest, they're all loose, so it's very unfortunate that there's not like a smaller piece to go on top of there, because it's more of a long one that just shoots right out. But otherwise, no other articulation, but they did sculpt some texturing there by the legs and arms and stuff, so I guess that's pretty cool. And the bones do look pretty nice there. I mean, some of it is detailed quite well to an extent, but nothing too crazy there. But the facial expression is definitely the highlight of the entire figure, just because she's like half bald and half hair with purple hair and those eye shadowing and stuff. So yeah, really an interesting figure nonetheless. So I don't know what else to do with it, but yeah, it's cool. So that's Marrow. Next we have the White Queen, and this is a pretty decent figure. I mean, I like the head sculpt. The overall design of it is pretty cool. She looks a little bit better compared to all the other female figures in terms of facial expression, but I do like the overall outfit, and then just the belts and clips and stuff by the torso, which looks really nice. She does have the traditional thigh swivels with no other knee articulation and stuff, so more buckles there, and the outfit itself is just really cool. Minor little paint nick there, but yeah, it's a pretty standard looking figure. Not too much to say about it other than I like it for what it is, but wish it could have been a little bit better. I'm just happy at least she can stand on her own, but otherwise it's a pretty decent figure. So that is the White Queen. Last but not least, we have Emplet, who's, I believe, the villain within the Toybiz line, and at least from the Generation X line. And this one is pretty sick. I like her design. I like the overall sculpt. To be quite honest, I don't really know much or anything about this character, but why I have it, I don't even know. But it was just there when I found it. So I guess I was more of a completionist when it comes to the Toybiz line. So still very cool looking figure, nice jacket, some ripped edges there. You see it even has part of a gimmick there, but you can even see the purple seeping under through the gray skin. I guess the gimmick is part of the wrist, which is actually loose, so maybe it has something to do with the string. Nice decal there and on the inside of her palm. The pants look very nice with some texturing there. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. There's really not much else to it. At least she does have some sculpted knee articulation, but doesn't have any. And then just the overall facial expression with the actual hose and the respiratory gas mask kind of thing is freaking awesome. And I love the sculpting of the hair. So I wish I knew more about this character. Unfortunately, I don't, but it's still a great one to add into the collection. So I'm still happy to have it. So that is Emplet. And to end off on a weird note, she also comes with this dude. I have no idea who this guy even is, so yeah, if you want to help me out in the comments below, please do let me know. Alright you guys, so that was my Generation X collection by Toybiz. As you can see here, there are a pretty good, decent amount of characters within the Generation X line. It's just one of those things where I wish more of the characters were involved with the actual maroon and yellow outfits compared to how Banshee has the blue and yellows, and then you have all these other characters here. But it's a pretty decent roster for that matter. So within the video, we went over Emplet, White Queen, Marrow, Penance, Sync, Chamber, Skin, Banshee, and Jubilee. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.